Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we are doing another Hour of Devastation Amonkhet Intermediate Swiss Draft League. The rare is Fraying Sanity. We're not going to take that. Kind of a cool little fun build around, but I'm not quite ready for mill yet in this format. I will probably try it at some point. I do know the Eternal of Harsh Truce is good. A 3-mana 1/3 is not great, but the Afflict 2 is very nice, and the ability is obviously very good too, so it's kind of a strictly better Scroll Thief, which I like. And it's a zombie, so it's a relevant creature type in this format. We also have Sifter Worm, which... This is no Pelakka Worm. I think I actually just like Pelakka Worm more. Like, you get the Scry 3, but there's no guarantee that you gain any life if you have 3 lands on top of your deck. Although I guess you could just bottom all 3, and then ideally you don't have 4 lands on top of your deck. But I think it's just a matter of maybe you just... the risk of not gaining enough life for a 7-drop, 7/7 trample to bring you back in the game. I still think the card is good. I feel like we're just going to take the Eternal here. I like the Kenra Scrapper. I guess Lethal Sting is... Actually, I'm going to go Lethal Sting. Because it's pretty strong removal, I've played against it a few times, and I have been pretty impressed. Granted, you do need an actual creature to put a -1/-1 counter on, but destroy any creature for 3 mana is pretty good. So a Braid is 2 mana instant, deal 3 to a creature. That's very good. Or, yeah, we're going to take that over the second Lethal Sting. There's also Aerial Guide, which I think is a great card, and Puncturing Blow. But I think a Braid being 2 mana instant, 3 damage to a creature is pretty nice. Pretty efficiently costed. Supreme Will is 3 mana counterspell, or look at top 4, put 1 in your hand, the rest in the bottom. Well, too bad it doesn't put it in graveyard. That would actually be better for this format, but it's a pretty nice instant actually. I'm still going to take a Braid here though. Okay, so the next pick we have Merciless Eternal with the Lethal Sting. We have Kenra Eternal, Moaning Wall. Oketra's Avenger I feel like is actually a pretty cool card. 2 mana 3/1 is good. Attack, prevent all damage that would be dealt to it is pretty good too. There's not a lot of things that can defend it particularly effectively. However, I think Thorn Malak might make sense for us with the Braid. It's basically a 2/2 first strike when attacking. The prowess effect is pretty, I would say, fairly difficult to play around. It is a 3-drop though. I definitely give a higher premium to 2 drops. I kind of feel like this Avenger is quite good. It does sort of put us in 3 colors immediately, but it's early enough in the draft where I kind of want to just take the best cards, and you really can never have enough 2-drops. I think we're just going to take the Avenger here. Inferno Jet, 6 mana, 6 to an opponent or cycle 2. That's pretty interesting, actually. I think that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. We have this Crypt of the Eternals, which is actually fixing for us, but unfortunately it's not a great land. Let's take I feel like the Puncturing Blow. I was actually pretty impressed with this card. I don't know how to feel about Inferno Jets. Like I said, 6 damage to a player is huge, but it's not a super versatile card, whereas Puncturing Blow does not deal to a player, but God, 6 damage to a player. Lava Axe was playable, and it didn't have cycling on it. I'm kind of interested in this Inferno Jet. I'm going to try it. We'll see what I think of it. 6 damage to a player is pretty absurd. Okay, so we have Dutiful Servants, which I don't really like. I think the 2/4 for 3 is much better. Unquenchable Thirst, which is pretty good. Bone Slasher, 3 mana, 3/3 in black is certainly fine. We have this Wretched Camel, which I think is okay, actually. And Grizzly Survivor. Whenever you cycle or disc, it's okay. And then the Sinuous Striker, 3 mana, 2/2. You can make it a 3/1, which is pretty unusual in blue. Usually you get both sides of the ability, but obviously if you internalize it for 5, then that's actually pretty versatile. I feel like it's a pretty good card. I'm going to take the Bone Slasher, I think, because 3/3 for 3 is pretty efficient. And we do probably want to start narrowing down what we're doing here. So I like this excavator, actually. Sometimes cards that are worth things are passed later than you would expect. Like, this is worth a ticket. But it's actually, you know what's actually, in my opinion, pretty good about this card is how well it works with Evolving Wilds in this format. I mean, you just get to play a land every turn. It might actually just be worth taking. I feel like it's actually a pretty useful ability. Like, it's good with cycle lands, and like I said, it goes infinite with Evolving Wilds. I'm going to take this card speculating that it actually is pretty good. And we could still very easily end up in green. We're passing a couple 2-drops that I think are reasonably good as well. But, alright, so we have this Consigned to Oblivion, Desert, Harrier Naga. Plenty of options to do here. I may just want the Naga. A 3-mana 3/3 is pretty good. The Desert is obviously good with the Excavator, but you need to be in blue to make it work. Kindled Fury in here as well. Let's sort by color. I'm still not exactly sure what we're doing. I may just take the Naga. Huh. Alright. I think Consigned to Oblivion is probably the best, but I don't know if we're going to... Oh, another Inferno Jet. I actually like Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. I feel like this card is actually pretty good. It probably blocks a lot of 3-power creatures, because I found 4 is kind of the magic number in this format. And the fact that, I don't know, I feel like pinging every turn on a 2-drop is actually pretty good. Otherwise, there's another Inferno Jet, although there's no guarantees we're going to end up in red. And then otherwise, Cunning Survivor, which is decent, and nothing else terribly exciting. Beneath the Sands, if we want to fix, or site, or what am I trying to say? If we want to fix here. Okay, Survivor's Encampment, seeing that late is actually nice. Besides the fact that it's a desert for our desert card, we very well could end up splashing a 3rd color. Maybe for Lethal Sting, perhaps. Or an Inferno Jet, possibly. I'm not opposed. There's another Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs in here, but I think I will forego it for the Survivor's Encampment. I've actually been fairly impressed with the Survivor's Encampment. Okay, Desert of the True. Otherwise, we could take the Kindled Fury, which I actually like. And there's a couple decent blue cards as well. So Desert would be good if we do end up in white. Although, I mean, we're really just completely unsure what colors we're playing at the moment. So I think I am going to prioritize the Desert land over the Kindled Fury, only because we're not guaranteed to be in red, and if we are in white, having another Desert is pretty nice. So here's yet another Desert, which I could take over the Naga. This card's... I don't like paying life to get mana. I don't really like that, but... it's a fairly relevant ability. All right, we'll take the Oasis. We'll give it a try. We're trying to... oh, multiples? Well, geez. It's a little awkward. All right, I'll take it anyway. Or I could take the Manalith now for fixing and ramp. I don't know if I love Manalith, but it's probably fine. We'll try out the Oasi. I guess we'll take the white card. Second to last pick, Gifted Strength, is a bit surprising. Okay, so kind of an interesting pack one. We ended up with 4 deserts, which I was not expecting. But we also don't know what colors we're in right now. We're trying to figure that out. Well, Earthshaker Kinra is a good reason to be in red. I think that card's very good. A couple of commenters talking about Torment of Scarabs, which I don't think is a particularly great card. I think it's only... I don't even know if it's playable. It's okay. I don't really like it, to be honest. So there's Naga. Kinra seems like the card to take. There is Sandblast as well. Sandblast is pretty premium removal. I could see splashing for Sandblast and being okay with that. 5 damage is pretty good. And we already have a reason to be in white with the Desert of the True, although we could still splash it with the Survivor's Encampment. So I'm kind of tempted to take this Earthshaker Kinra. I like it quite a bit. I think it's a good card. Unexpected, to say the least. So I think we're going to take it. The Eternalize really does make this card. I feel like... what does this one do? Sacrifice it. Return each creature. Oh yeah, you can exile. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Resolute Survivors I feel like are pretty good. Open Fire though seems like the pick that we want. Burn Spell. Hits face. What more can you ask for? I do like Feral Prowler. It's like a much better Black Cat. Alright, let's take the Open Fire here pretty happily. And it seems as though we're in red now, so that's good to know. Still trying to figure out that second color. So now we can take the Sandblast. Might be time to just jump ship into red-white, although white was cut pretty hard in pack 1, but Sandblast is definitely looks like the best card out of this pack here. Otherwise, Frilled Sandwallet is certainly playable in green, and Firebrand Archer is certainly playable in red, but Sandblast does seem like the premium card here. So we'll take the Sandblast, and we still could end up maybe in, yeah, like now we get Resolute Survivors, which is just really nice. Uncage the Menagerie is actually better than it appears. So maybe we just take the Survivors here. We don't have any other Exert. No, we do. We have the Avenger. Nothing else in red yet, but we're looking like this is a good deck to start going towards red-white, I would say. Although then I guess the Oasises can't be played. That might still be okay. So if we do something like this, we're pretty short on playables, and to be honest, I don't really like the Dutiful Servants, but I think we are going to take the Survivors here over Blur of Blades, Kenra Scrapper, and Puncturing Blow. Puncturing Blow is quite good too, but we'll take the Survivors. So Scrapper is quite good. Another Sandblast, however, which I probably just want to take. Sandblast is less good in a deck that's trying to be hyper aggressive, mostly because unless you have a Trampler, they still get to block your creature. You're presumably on the offensive more, they still get to block, and then you have to pay 3 mana to just get rid of their blocker. But it still deals with most things in the format, so I imagine it is definitely the pick here. I really do like that Kenra Scrapper, though. It's a great card. So yet another oh, we'll just take all the Sandblasts. I'm okay with this. I mean, this card, like I said, deals with a lot of things. We're going to need some more creatures at some point, but for now I'm pretty satisfied with just... I really like the Camo a lot too, but it's tough to not take Sandblast. Okay, Kenra Scrapper is definitely the pick here. It's a pretty phenomenal card. I did mention that you tend to get gunked up at 3-drops, especially not a pack 3 here, but this still seems correct. Just all the Sandblasts. Is this card not good? Am I wrong? I think we're just going to take a million Sandblasts. Maybe I'm crazy and it's not good, but I'm pretty sure it's good. So now I think we actually take the Paramount. The problem is it's just like a Grizzly Bear in our deck, and Thorn Moloch is actually better. It's just, I'm telling you, I'm getting concerned we're not going to have enough low end. If we have, although I'm probably not wanting to play the Servants. We could definitely end up with more zombies out of pack 3 though and still make this worth our time. I just need to make sure that we have enough low end. So now I think I take the Desert, because we're not playing these two. And we probably still play the Wall, honestly. It might seem a bit weird if you're trying to be an aggressive deck, but it can just ping for days. And it's probably better than Endless Sands. And like I said, we're going to have to hopefully just find cheaper things to play. Alright, we'll take another Desert. Puncturing Blow, seeing it this late is pretty surprising. So we're like, unfortunately, we're like removal.deck. Which, I mean, you'd think would be good, but we actually need finishers here. So we could even, in theory, play a 3-color deck if we found creatures in other colors and we just weren't able to find enough here. It did seem like white was, like I said, getting cut out of pack 1. Alright, seeing the Wall here is actually pretty nice. We have enough deserts to get these going, and with all this removal, I doubt Kindled Fury even is going to make the deck just because of how few creatures we currently have and how many removal spells we have. But, alright, so we just have to take creatures over everything at this point. Trueheart Twins is phenomenal. If you've seen my triple Amonkhet videos, you know how powerful this card is, especially in conjunction with something like Resolute Survivors as well. Pretty phenomenal. So we're going to take the True Heart Twins over the Aven Mind Sensor. And at this point, I'm willing to play Anointed Priests. I don't even have a problem with that. In fact, it does end up having synergy with Mummy Paramount. So, okay, we'll take the True Heart Twins pretty happily. It's a very, very powerful finisher. Another one, geez. There's Electrify in here too, but at this point, we're definitely taking the Twins. I think Twins is just a better card than Electrify anyway. So yeah, taking another Twins, which is quite good. If we're wheeling creatures here, I feel like we're doing good. We might end up playing the rare 17 land Boros deck, but I'm okay with that too. So Soulscar Mage is cheap. Oh, Ketra's Attendant is a pretty phenomenal 5-drop. I think we're easily taking that over Sacred Attendant and Soulscar Mage, even though Soulscar Mage is pretty nasty in this deck. Quad Sandblast, like even if they have a fatty, just 5 neg1 counters. Same with Puncturing Blow and a Braid and Open Fire. That is pretty good, but I think Oketra's Attendant is just a much more premium 5-drop creature. Entangler is always premium, and we're prioritizing our 2-drops here. So we're going to take it over Initiate and Thresher Lizard. It also has Exert, which synergizes both True Heart Twins and Resolute Survivors, so very good for our deck. I like Thresher Lizard a lot too, by the way. Okay, so we can take the Inciter. I think Inciter tends to work really well with True Heart Twins, especially if you get that surprise, pump your team. Sometimes you even get multiple Exerts surprise, which can just be dominating. So we still need some more creatures. I think this is fine. We need 3 more creatures, as a matter of fact. I guess since this can cycle for 2, we can put it down in the 2-drop slot for now. Deck is coming together quite nicely, I have to say. Okay, we're going to take the Thresher Lizard. It's pretty premium for us, much more exciting than Glorious End, which reads like it plays well, but I don't know, from my experience, I'm always too scared to cast it. Even if it's like, yeah, I'm probably going to win, I'm still just too terrified to ever cast it. And I know that Thresher Lizard is a very good card. I'm pretty tempted at this point to just play, yeah, I think we actually are going to easily be able to get away with 16 land deck now that I'm taking a closer look at it. So we can play Hyena Pack. It's certainly a playable 4-drop. It fits our curve fine, and we don't really need the Mighty Leap, so okay. So here we can take the Initiate. I like what it does for us in terms of card advantage. It lets us make use of our mana later with Embalm. It synergizes with Mummy Paramount. It's a 3-drop, which we have a lot of, but we have a lot of 2-drops now, so I'm starting to feel more comfortable. And we don't really need the Adept, so we'll take the Initiate. The Vigilance on this tends to come up and be really good most of the time. A lot of times things don't want to trade with it, but because it has Vigilance, they're kind of forced to, and then you get value from it later, which I like. So Anointer Priest versus Flameblade Adept. What's the weakest creature in our deck? It may be the Hyena Pack. I'm still going to play these Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs with 4 deserts. I think that's completely fine. And yeah, we will end up playing the Encampment. We do have the Fling, which we can totally play, and it does tend to win games. We already have 15 creatures. Maybe I do take the Fling. This card has just been too good for me in the format most of the time. And we don't really need to cut a creature for one of those other things. Alright, so there's Watchers of the Dead, which is a playable 2-drop. We have Cartouche of Zeal. No trials, but giving haste is pretty good. We probably don't need it for this deck. I think we're doing better things with just premium removal spells. Sparring Mummy is actually very good with Exert. In fact, it might actually be an upgrade to Hyena Pack. I could see that. I may just swap these 2 out. Like, I actually think that effect is pretty useful for us. I'd sacrifice 1 toughness. Plus it has, I guess, random Mummy Paramount synergy too. Take another Fling. Not likely to play 2. Alright, get the Hyena Pack anyway. So, pretty happy with how this deck... We're going to take Forsake over the Mighty Leap, because I don't think we're playing Mighty Leap, and Forsake is a good sideboard card to have. So yeah, I actually think Pack 3 helped us quite a bit. We ended up with a lot of goodies. This deck is pretty cool. A lot of just a ton of removal. Enough deserts to make our walls work fine as well. Admittedly, the walls are a lot less exciting with True Heart Twins, but I want to try them out. I actually think they're pretty good. So if we group stuff separate, we don't want to cut a creature, which means we probably just end up cutting the Kindled Fury, which I'm fine with. Kindled Fury's good, but we don't need it. I think we'd rather just have Fling, which can just kill people. So look at our removal suite, though. Abrade, Quad Sandblast, Open Fire, Puncturing Blow. That is a lot of removal. A lot. This deck's cool. This deck looks like a lot of fun. Let's get our stuff in here. And then sort by color, I guess, to take a look at what we're looking at here. So we probably want to do a pretty even split, which means we're going to end up, I mean, we need both double red and double white, but we do have 2-drop white creatures, so I think we're going to do an even split, which means the Survivor's Encampment technically kind of counts as both. Yeah, it does. So let's add some basic lands here. This would be 6 and 6 would be 8. So we want to do this, right? And this is 8 and 7. Oh, well, no, that actually works for me. So wait a second. Let's make sure we're doing this right. So we would have 7. We'd have 1 more mountain, which does technically make more sense. We have 3 more red spells in the deck. And this counts as both. So really we end up having 9 red, 8 white, which is pretty good. Okay, this looks like a fun little Boros brew, actually. I'm interested to see if Inferno Jet does things. Remember, you can always cycle it, so it can't be the worst card in the game, right? I'm very interested in this card. Like I said, Lava Axe was totally playable. Inferno Jet seems better, even though you have to pay an additional mana and you only get 1 more damage, but cycling is a really nice add-on to a Lava Axe style card, in my opinion. I mean, this is a literal, oh, I top decked and just kill you. And I doubt people expect to die at 6 life. So, pretty impressive. Very interesting deck. Quad Sandblast is, I feel like, pretty unusual, but is this card not as good as I think it is? It seems pretty good to me. All right, we'll run it like this. We'll see you round 1.